My name is Winnie Honeycutt, and I just recently retired after many, many years in the financial services industry. The majority of that time I spent at Bank of America. What I will say is that my association with this is the fact that I am lucky enough to be on the board for the Union County Education Foundation. So I grew up in Virginia in a small town out in the country, and I knew I wanted to get outside of that little town, right? So going through high school, I was exploring opportunities, and one of the things I realized was that some of the local schools were really good universities, and one of them happened to be UVA, and one of them James Madison University. I applied to both of those, and I ended up choosing James Madison University because I had the most scholarship and financial aid from them, and had the good work-study program. I was not somebody that liked studying, so I did not go beyond the 4-year degree. I did not go to grad school. So what made me choose that school was, and you're going to hear me talk a lot about relationships. So I had a relationship with a couple of people that had graduated from there, and they kept telling me what a good school it was. And then I go back to the fact that they offered the best financial aid package for me. Now, I started out in thinking I was going to be a kindergarten teacher because I liked to babysit when I was in high school. I thought the little kids were cute. I was going to be a kindergarten teacher. And so I was fortunate enough that my work-study program had me working in the office of the dean of the School of Business. And before the end of the first semester of my freshman year, he called me in his office and he said, "No, emphatically no, you are not going to be a kindergarten teacher. You're going to major in business." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "I watch you every day. You need to be a business major." And so he was kind enough, again, somebody in my path that I had a relationship with that was a mentor and helping me, arranged for me to spend 3 of my work-study days, hours in his office, in a kindergarten classroom. And at the end of those 3 days, he was so right. I did not want to be a kindergarten teacher. So he kept saying, "You want to be a business major." So he helped me set my schedule for my spring semester of my freshman year. And I took an introduction to business class, and I took an introduction to information systems class. In the information systems class, I loved it. I wanted more of that. So I think it was probably my sophomore year in classes that I really latched on to technology. I just loved it. I was just totally engrossed in it. I thought it was fascinating, the fact that I could take something that you said you wanted, you needed, and I could make that box do it. I was completely fascinated with that and never wanted to try to do something different from that until I got into the business world and saw opportunities. So mentioning the couple of folks that I have already, the fact that I had the mentorship that kind of steered me toward JMU, the fact that the dean of the School of Business sat me down and said, "No, you're going to be a business major." Those were huge, huge. I mean, to this day, I think about that man and what a big impact he had on my life, right? And how grateful I am. There were others along the way, and I think what that sparked in me, once I finally got out of school, I realized, wow, how lucky I was to have that I needed to continue that. I needed to find, I've always called it with the folks that I coach is, who is your group? Who's your village? Who's your board of directors? Who's that little tight-knit group that you can count on that is going to be honest with you and that you can ask those questions to, right? They don't have to come and sit around a little table. It's somebody you've met and you go have coffee with, right? And you get to know them and you click. And I want more of that, right? That I can learn from that person. I can ask them the things I'm afraid to ask my parents or my boss or whatever, and I can get good direction. It's important to keep building on that. You don't just find one and stop. You keep building on that. Finishing up my senior year, and I was applying for jobs like everybody else, right? Well, again, in technology, it was everybody wanted you to have experience. So I was looking around different companies in Virginia, and I was restless. Again, I wanted to see what was out there. So I started applying for jobs in other places, and I ended up, pure accident, 3 interviews in Charlotte. And I thought, that's interesting. Let's go to Charlotte. Let's go do these 3 interviews in Charlotte. So I shut down a couple other things I was pursuing and came to Charlotte. And as a result of that couple of days in Charlotte, I got 3 job offers. And I decided, the banking one, I've got a checking account. How hard can this be, right? So, you add, subtract, keep a little money in there. How hard can this be? And they were willing to give me a chance because I was right out of school again. And everybody wanted, oh, you need to have at least 1 to 2 years experience. Well, where the heck was I going to get that if somebody didn't give me a chance? So this bank was willing to give me the chance. So I said, I pick you. It was one of the job offers, right? And so back then it was a little bank called North Carolina National Bank. And it was just in a few cities here in North Carolina, and then it started to grow. And what I'll say is timing is everything. And for me, the fact that Hugh McCall was the CEO and chairman of that bank at the time, and he's the one that grew it into the global company that it is today. He's the man that grew it, right? Others have taken the mantle from him beyond that. But that man made such an impression on me being younger. He was an ex-Marine, and he talked like it, very stern, but heart of gold. And he talked about taking care of people. He said, if you take care of the employees, if you're good to each other, he goes, that'll take care of business. Take care of the people, and the people will take care of business. And he always would look right at you and say, do the right thing, and I got your back. And those 2 things coming from him, being at the level that he was, and me being a nobody, I'm like, I like this guy. And I watched him grow the company, right? And I went from a programmer trainee trying to make that machine sort the checks to where I manage teams internationally. No regrets. My career, I will say, I moved through. So I was in technology. I was the developer for many years. And then I moved into managing projects because people said, you're too much of a control freak. You need to manage this yourself, right? So you need to manage these projects. So I'm like, okay, I'll try that, which is part of being open to the possibilities, right? So if somebody sees something in you and says, you know what, you should try this, be open to that possibility because they may just be right. Because so far in my life, they had been right. So my path was college, and they're going to hear a lot of people talk about college being the path. But what I'm going to say is, I'm going to back up a second. The most important thing in all of this is learn your skill, whatever it is. Everybody has a gift, and you're going to have to figure out what that gift is. You may not know what it is today, but you're going to figure it out along your path, right? And you're going to be in the right job, and it's not going to be the right job, but you're going to find your gifts. Be real. Be a good human. Be you. Because I will tell you, and across the years, I've built a lot of teams. And every time I hire somebody, I have a whole list of things that I'm looking for. But the most important thing is, are they a good human being? Do I want to sit with them every day and talk to them and have them be a part of my team? And if you don't cut that mustard in the first hour, the rest of this doesn't matter to me. No. Finding my way to Charlotte is where I met my husband. Ended up staying down here because I told my parents. My parents were like, you're going to leave Virginia? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'll be back in a couple years. Never went back. So my family's here. My kids are here. My only grandson is here. There's nothing I would do different. Mostly what I'm doing now is volunteering. I do a lot of nonprofit volunteering. I'm on a couple of boards. I still do a lot of coaching and mentoring. I still get a lot of phone calls from consulting companies to come and help with doing merger and acquisition work. So at this point, I kind of pick what I want to do, what sounds interesting and where I want to go.